Hello and welcome to another video on my YouTube channel, and we are now in the Web API.NET Basics series of tutorials. And I've already mentioned this. This is video number 2. But as always, yes, please go ahead and follow me on my GitHub profile. Visit my website, and if you have any questions, I have multiple emails which you can get in touch with me now. In the previous video, I explained to you that yes, we have wrapped up the C# basics series of tutorials. I mean, it doesn't cover everything, but it does cover the essentials, and that should give you enough foundational C# knowledge to be able to do something that is more exciting. Now, I say exciting because when you're learning something, anything at all, I mean, I should know. I mean, I have to learn new thing constantly. So that is always part of a developer's life. I mean, there's no way like you can just learn and then that's it, and then you just keep working. It doesn't work that way. You have to keep learning new things constantly, right? So that is always there. At the same time, when you are learning something new, like especially with the first time, the foundational parts can get a little boring because you're not building anything, you're just learning stuff. It's like when you're trying to learn to walk, you can only walk inside your house, but it's only when you really done with learning properly, then you go outside and start walking in the outside road and park and zoo and whatever. So that's when things can get a little bit more exciting, right? So so we have done with that now. So those videos, the basic videos, are already there. You can watch them, practice them, and all that. So now you're ready to apply your knowledge and actually build something. Because when you build something and you see the output, no matter how simplistic your project might be, no matter how easy or dumb or even stupid something that you're building might look, it is still something that you're building, and that is where things get a little exciting. And I always forget to get water before I sit down to record these videos, so hold on. Oh man. Okay, all right then. So there we go. So now in this video, I'm going to quickly run down all the tools that you need on your computer, and I will be doing some of these things are already covered in the basics, but some of the things are not covered in the basics, but still these are the main tools. I'll also be making quick videos for each of these tools and upload them on the channel, so you have an idea on how to just get started on them and stuff like that. So what are the things you need before we can build the project now? But first, of course, what exactly are we building? I already mentioned to you in the previous project, there are 2 projects that I have right now, and I plan to add more projects as the passage of time comes by itself to happen. Right now, if you go to my profile, there are 2 projects that I have right now, and I have plans to add at least 2 more projects. I'm working on that right now. By the time I finish recording the first few episodes, those projects should be ready as well. So I'm adding a lot of demo projects that you can build along with me in these videos and then add it to your portfolio and things like that. So first is the one I told you already in the first video, is the comic book shop project, which is like a very simple full stack .NET application, the microservice approach, and it's like an e-commerce project where you can do stuff like log in, register a new account, place an order, and even complete payment. Very simple early stage project, ideal for early developers. And the second project is again another very simple project, beginner level project. It's like a file management, photo management project, but here the focus is on using some Azure services. Like right now, as I'm recording this video, I have added Azure Blob Storage features, I've added Azure Computer Vision features, and of course I have added Azure Translator features as well. And I keep exploring. I also added optical, OCR, analyzing images and OCR. There you go. So I keep exploring new things. Like I am trying to pick and choose the things that is ideal for a first-time developer. That's what I've been doing for the last 10 years, teaching first-time developers. So these are the 2 projects you'll be building at the end of the current series of videos. Just like the last series, the C# basic series, I do not know how many videos it will become. Will it be 5 videos, 10, 50, 20, 30? I do not know. And also I plan to keep adding more projects, and I want to keep continuing this video series as long as I can. And so it's like but again, this is all mainly designed for early developers. If you already have some experience, I don't know how much you'll gain from my videos. So this is mainly for those who are just starting. So right then, so we know what we are going to build, and like I said, I am already building more demo projects, and I'll be adding them to my GitHub repository. And of course I will be making videos about how to build them. So I'm not just gonna go like whatever I showed you right now, I will be showing you how to build it as well. But before we can build anything, we need to put the foundational knowledge on how to build it. We need to get everything ready. So that is what this video is about. So what are the tools you need to have? And I say tools, I'm not just talking about developer tools, also other things. For example, GitHub account is not a tool, but you should have it. So tools, when I say tools, I'm talking about everything you would need to be able to follow along in my videos. Some of the things you already have. If you don't have, this is the time for you to go back and go ahead and take care of it. And I'll be making individual videos as well. So what are the tools you need? And as I'm talking, I'll open those tools on my computer so you know that I already have it, right? And then you also make sure you have something similar. Now, of course, I'm doing all of this on Windows computer, but .NET 8, that is what I'm using, is compatible with both Windows and Mac. Although I won't be using VS Code for .NET running and debugging, I'll stick to Visual Studio. I'm on Windows. Of course, sometimes I might make videos on my Mac, in which case you'll see me using VS Code for the same project. So that might happen as well. But as of now, I'm mostly working with clients on Windows-based projects. So it's going to be Windows videos for a Windows platform-based coding for some time now. So first thing you need is, of course, you need to make sure you have Visual Studio. 2022 is the current version. The community edition is what I'm doing. So make sure that you are able to, open Visual Studio. Make sure that you are able to create a new project. You should be able to create console projects. You should be able to create ASP.NET Core web app Razor pages. You should be able to create ASP web app MVC type of projects. You should be able to create Azure function that will come up in the future. You should be able to create ASP.NET Core web API. So make sure all these templates are available. You can also see them here. If you go to project types, make sure that you have all these things already on your machine. Now, let's say you don't have it. I will be making a separate video of Visual Studio. Already have made some videos on Visual Studio. Check it out on my YouTube channel. I'll put the links in the description. So first step is make sure you have Visual Studio installed on your computer. Second thing is you need to make sure you have Postman on your machine. Now we will be developing, we are ultimately developing web APIs. I mean, this is a C#.NET. I mean, yes, there is some front-end development using Razor pages, Bootstrap and all that, but majority of the time I'll be spending time with back-end development and Azure related development. So the front-end part is mainly to just test what we are building, just a bare bones front-end kind of anything. So this is not a front-end series. So if you're looking for front-end development, I'm not that. These videos are not for front-end development. Sure, I'll touch upon it. I mean, I myself, I'm not a front-end guy. So this is primarily back-end development, DevOps development, cloud development, but front-end is bare minimum, just enough to show what we are building. So just keep that in mind. So please make sure you have Postman. Again, I'll be making a separate video about Postman usage in another future video. So please make sure you have Postman on your computer. Next thing is, yes, again, I'll be making a short video. In fact, I'll be making a lot of videos about Azure as the train and as these videos continue. So please make sure that you are able to log in to Azure portal. Also make sure that you have a subscription. Now I'll be talking more about Azure and subscriptions and how to get them, how not to get them, what are your options, how does the payment work, how does the payment, when I say not to me but to the Azure service, cloud service, not all of them are free. Some things are free, some things are not free. So how do you manage resources, how do you manage costs? So yeah, I will be making a bunch of videos about Azure portal as this tutorial. But first step, yes, this is more like an intro thing. So make sure you are able to log into Azure portal, make sure you have it working. Obviously you need to have your Microsoft account as well, so please make sure of that. So that's about the portal thing. Browsers, yeah, the more browsers you have, the better. So make sure you have, I use Edge. Edge is my main browser, Microsoft Edge. I mostly use Microsoft products, so I use Edge day in and day out. So that's one option. Obviously, I have Firefox, another good option. Google Chrome, a lot of things, especially React-based things and other things. Google is a very good browser for pretty much everything, although I don't use it myself all that much, but for developer debugging and things like that, yeah, Google Chrome is really the best for developer debugging and things like that. So and of course I also have Opera. I use Opera browser for my YouTube management and things like that. So again, Opera. So these are the 4 browsers I use. You can use any other browser, but the main things are make sure you have Google Chrome. that's, I guess, that is the most popular browser right now. So please use Google Chrome. But otherwise, I personally use, I do so many things, so I have different browsers for different things and different accounts. It's not a bad idea, when you're working, when you're doing a lot of things. Sometimes you want to keep one browser for one specific task. Like I have one browser, the Opera browser, for my YouTube channel management and things like that. I use Edge for my daily life, business things and things like that. I use Chrome for developer tools and everything, and I use Firefox for everything else. So there you go. You may have one browser for everything, or you can have different browsers for different tasks. Now I do a lot of things, so I need different browsers. And the best part is all these browsers are available on both Windows and Mac. So when I'm working on a Windows project, I use all these browsers on the Windows machine. And I'm working on a Mac project, I use the same things on my Mac with the same logins and everything. So please make sure you have all these browsers installed as per your requirement. The next thing is, of course, GitHub and Work Diary. I've already made many videos about GitHub, so it's already available on my channel. But of course, just want to mention that you make sure you have your GitHub account working and you're able to log in. Obviously, you need to make sure you have Git Bash as well. Please make sure that your Git Bash is working. It's configured locally. Again, the video is already there on my YouTube channel. Please do check them out if you don't already have Git working on your machine. Now, there is something called Work Diary that I use in my project. A Work Diary is essentially like a diary. It can be a real notebook, like I use a real notebook. I also use Trello. I also use Azure project boards. I also use GitHub projects. I also use Trello. And I also use a online notebook based diary. So it's really up to you. There are many ways you can track your work, and all of them have some benefit to it. When we start working, I'll definitely show you how to use the Work Diary, which is really good, because like as I mentioned, as a developer, you are doing a lot of things day in and day out, and you do a lot of steps, and you need to maintain a record of what you're doing. Of course, as a person, I also maintain a personal diary, both offline and online. So for me, this is more like a way of tracking what I'm doing, and this is really useful because every year as I work on more projects, the diary that just keeps growing and growing. I have diaries going back to many years. So whenever I'm working on a new project, if I remember that something similar was done in the past, it is so easy for me to check my diary. And my diary always has small steps, notes and things like that, which will help me become a better developer. And obviously it has made me a better tutor. So we'll be using a Work Diary when we are working on projects. So please get into a habit of it. Get a notebook, get a pen, and also, of course, I'll show you how to have a digital diary directly in GitHub. I use a digital diary on the GitHub so that I can track all the things I am doing. And of course, the last thing we need is we are using Microsoft SQL Server running locally with EF Core in majority of our projects. So yes, when you're developing applications, when you're developing projects, you need to run queries. So there you go. For example, I have one database here called CBS Authentication. So let's go ahead and try to let's go to a table here. Yeah, there we go. And then let's go to get the users. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so you will need to constantly check your database. You may need to delete databases, create databases, see if the connection is working, troubleshooting, and all those things. So all the things you need, we will be using SQL Server running locally for majority of our projects wherever there is a database component. Now, sometimes I also use SQLite, but right now in my projects, I'm not using it. But when we get into deployment or something, maybe to save some money, in the Azure cloud or something, for deployment, I might switch to using SQLite. Let me see if it is installed on my computer right. No, I don't think right now I'm using SQL. Oh, there it is. There is some file, storage.sqlite. So I do use it. Just like SQL Management Studio, there is an SQLite database browser software. We'll use that when we come to it, but it's not necessary right now. Right now, I'm focusing. Majority of the videos will be about local development, but of course, I have plans to make. When I move on to, I have plans to make a series of beginner videos on Azure DevOps as well. So at that time, when we get into deployment, if I feel that the Azure online database is too expensive for me and also for my students, then I might switch to SQLite only for the purpose of deployment and use SQL Server for local development. And this is one of the many reasons I use EF Core. EF Core for me has been a fundamentally like a friend. I always think of EF Core. The first time I heard about EF Core all the way back in 2012, I was so happy because I don't know why, although I have a computer science degree and I've been working as a developer for 20 plus, 12 plus years professionally, and I've been in the world of programming for more than 20 years, somehow I never really enjoyed working in SQL. I never enjoyed writing SQL queries. I don't know why I can't seem to find any joy in doing it. Although I know it is an essential skill. I mean, when I look at an SQL query, if I really have to do something, yes, I will sit and write a query. I'll figure it out. But somehow I never enjoyed dealing with databases, especially on a micromanagement level. I just don't like it. So when I discovered EF Core, I have to say I became delighted, and all my projects use EF Core. And in fact, one of the reasons I think why I never went over to say non-.NET development too much. I mean, obviously I make a decent amount of money by teaching and developing React projects and JavaScript projects and Bootstrap projects. I do make a reasonable amount of money doing that, but somehow I never enjoyed working in the back end on the Node.js side of things. Is probably because I couldn't find anything which could write the SQL queries for me. So that is something that has always bothered me. But anyway, so for our sake, I'm very happy. All my client projects, they use EF Core as well. So really, EF Core has been a godsend for me. So there you go, my dear students. These are all the things you need to have installed. I will be making individual quick videos on how to quickly use these things in the upcoming series. So we'll do that as well. So for now, that's all there is to it.